Very good evening. Welcome to our live coverage of the finish of Didac Costa, the Catalan fireman, finishing his second Vendée Globe, second consecutive Vendée Globe on this famous boat, One Planet, One Ocean, launched almost 21 years ago as Kingfisher, finished second in the 2000-2001 Vendée Globe with Ellen MacArthur. Since then, this will be it completing its sixth round-the-world race, and indeed Didac, this will be the finish, conclusion of his third round-the-world race. Conditions this evening have been pretty mixed. He's about 15, 16 knots of breeze. Coming into the finish line, he's a few miles from the line. And Didac, unfortunately, just lost contact about 3 or 4 days ago with the group of 4 boats ahead of him. But nonetheless, he will be happy to finish his race, albeit a little bit behind Pip here. Pip here has been very much his racing partner round the course until the final few days. Pip managed to escape with the group into the last system just before the Azores. Didac got a little bit out of contact, and now he's just over a day and a half behind Pip. So he's got a little bit of a race against time to get into the channel, and at the moment it's very marginal. So I'm joined by Anne-Laure. Anne-Laure, your thoughts on Didac's finish then? It's going to be a big relief for him to get in across the finish line. He's in a good race, though.
Yeah, he's in a really good race. I think he's going to be really relieved. He's definitely fed up with eating food on board. He's looking forward to his first meal, which is going to be octopus and fries, chocolate cake, and beer. So yeah, I think he's can't wait to pass, to just get here with us.
That's right. It's got a lot of support from the Les Sables d'Olonne fire service. Those of you who remember the race of Didac Costa in 2016, 2017, he got across the line, and only 45 minutes after crossing the line, he had a problem with the ballast pipe, which flooded his engine and his generator and his electrics, and he had to come back into Les Sables d'Olonne, and then he had to repair. He had a lot of help from the Les Sables d'Olonne fire service, as he is, of course, a firefighter as well. So solidarity with the firefighters. He had mechanics from the fire service. He had firemen making him cups of tea and all kinds of support. And indeed, one of the mechanics was the key member of the fire service who went down to Arcachon and brought back the replacement part, which got his generator repaired, and that's really what got him back to sea. They say he restarted 4 days after the fleet, 700 miles behind the last competitor, and almost all the way through the Indian Ocean and into the Pacific. He was completely out of touch with the fleet. So this has been a very much more satisfying race for him. He's been in contact with boats all the way round. I say principally Pip here, but also Stéphane Landeraison. At one point, he was in that group with Stéphane, with Arnaud Boissier, with Alain Roura, and his performance has been so much better than last time. So it's going to be around about 97 days, 5 hours, something like that, which is much better than his performance last time, Anne-Laure.
Yeah, that's right. Last time, I think it was way longer than that. So 10 more days, 108 days to be precise, 19 hours. So he's very happy. That was his goal, of course, to go faster. He knows this boat really well. He's been sailing on this boat, so the ex-Kingfisher, for quite a long time now. And I think, yeah, he's I think he's achieved his goal in a way.
For sure, yeah. One of his benchmarks would be the 94 days and 4 hours record, which was set by Ellen MacArthur when she was second in 2000-2001, second behind Michel Desjeux. So he's a little bit behind that record, as was Pip, but nonetheless a much stronger performance than last time. And in general, I think he was happy with the Indian Ocean. The Indian Ocean was better for him than last time, but the Pacific, he said, was much tougher, bigger storms, and he found that hard. But then thereafter, he came up the Atlantic in contact with the other boats, lost a little bit in a couple of weather systems, but he bought the boat with his business partner with Pep Costa in June 2019. He bought it from the FNOB, the Barcelona Foundation, which owned the Amocas, owned and ran the Barcelona World Race. So he and his partner bought it then, and they completely updated the boat. They took the dagger boards and dagger board cases out, reduced the weight by about 1,000 kilos, have put new sails on, changed the ballast configuration. So he's the first boat to finish the race with quantum sails. And he's totally happy with the sail package. It's worked really well for him. The sails are all completely intact, as I remember. So we're getting closer to the line. He's a small team, and they all arrived from Barcelona a couple of days ago. Unfortunately, his friends and family, because of the COVID situation, because of the pandemic, haven't been able to travel. So he will have his second family, Lauren.
Yeah, it's definitely second family here. I remember 4 years ago when he got here, it was incredible. It was just a big party. You know, the firemen welcomed him, and it was a really, really, emotional, shall I say, when he came in the channel with all those firemen just like, blasting their horn and the all the whatever lights, it was great. I think it's definitely second family. And like Andy said, a lot of those firefighters, their wives are actually teachers. So he's been followed by a lot of kids, in schools. And it's just really, really awesome. I think he's been awaited here in Les Sables by all those guys.
So that's right. I think he's going to have a guard of honor. I think he's going to have 12 firefighters on the pontoon waiting for him. And we're still waiting to see what the firefighters have in the channel. We're not quite sure whether he's going to get into the channel tonight. It's looking a little bit marginal just now, but certainly for sure that was Didac's intention. But he's a very humble, quiet individual, happiest when he's on the water. And indeed, you speak to his team, they'll tell you that he's actually as happy in the big storms in the Pacific as in the light breezes of his native Mediterranean. And he still works as a firefighter. He did a few shifts after delivering the boat to Les Sables d'Olonne before the start. And indeed, he will go home Thursday coming, and will be back at work with his fire service colleagues next Friday. And, we speak to him and he says he misses them, and they all think he's a little bit crazy for what he does, but they have huge respect for him. And for sure, his work in the fire service keeps him fit. He doesn't have much time to train the same way that his French contemporaries do. And indeed, Didac has not done any major races with the boat since the last Vendée Globe. He did a little bit of sailing and training after he refitted the boat, but generally he got here. So he's just not quite making the finish line. He's going to have to do one more tack, as our information from our safety boats on the water this evening. So, Anne-Laure, yes, he got very fed up with the freeze-dried food, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He actually had a hard time, really keeping up with his meals, in a regular way. He had to just force himself to eat this kind of food because to keep going, of course. So he can't wait to be back and have apparently quite a few clementines waiting for him here, as well as his octopus and fries, I suppose, but also a lot of fresh fruits because that was one of the hardest thing for him on the Vendée Globe, the food. Like he was really missing fresh fruits, fresh food. I know it seems a little funny, but food is quite, a big thing in our lives, I guess. So for those guys, eating always the same thing is just, it's just hard. It makes it hard. But plus you're by yourself on your boat. So I suppose, you don't share anything to anybody. You just eat. You like, and keep going. But soon he's going to be able to eat fresh fruits and a good hot meal.
That's right. He's looking forward to a beer, though. It will be a French beer. Nobody's brought his favourite Estrella Damm from Barcelona, unfortunately. But he has the Galician-style octopus being prepared for him. We have a restaurant about only 4 minutes' drive from the race HQ, from the pontoon, and they make all the meals to the specification, or as close as possible to the specification of the sailors and what they want. And Didac had actually just asked for something simple, but his team are preparing a nice surprise for him with this Galician octopus dish. And the restaurant is absolutely, I think, right beside the fishing port. So he'll have a nice surprise when he gets in. But you can see the lights there of the safety boats. Not such a big spectator fleet out this evening. Quite a cold night. But he will have quite a number of skippers still around Les Sables d'Olonne waiting, and I'm sure you'll get a welcome from the skippers on the pontoon tonight as well. The pit pairs waiting to see him. They're old contemporaries from the mini circuit. Didac did the mini circuit, or the mini transat in 2011, the same time as Pip. And Pip, I think, beat him across the line. She told us at the start she beat him across the finish line by 11 minutes. And this time the honours are with Pip once again in the Vendée Globe. I think she hadn't really seen him much since the mini days, so it was nice for her and him to catch up pre-start. If you cast your mind back to the pre-start period, and of course everybody was super locked down over the pre-start period. The skippers had 7 days of self-isolation, and so we just had one moment really on the pontoon when the dignitaries and the village was officially opened and the skippers all met up. And for sure, well, actually, as I said, Didac went back to work, and Pip was very, very careful. So that was the only time they saw each other, except on start day. And then they communicated all the way around the race course. So Didac speaks obviously Catalan and Spanish, limited French, limited English. So he was chatting with Pip on WhatsApp round the course, and quite often he would ask various different questions back to his team in Barcelona for translations, for how to ask different questions and communicate with Pip. So this does look very much like, as far as our latest information goes, this looks like it will be the last races for this generation of boats. Last round the world race in the Mocha class for these older boats. And for sure, Didac hasn't had so many technical problems on this race. Certainly his sails seem to have held up. He had new electronics, new engine. They took out the dagger boards, and he reduced the weight significantly. So Didac's across the line, finish time 20:47 minutes and 3 seconds. So just 3 seconds ago, he crossed the finish. Little message coming in from Rich Wilson in the US. telling us that he was in contact with Didac on his way around the course. So Didac then crosses the finish line in 20th place, 20:47 and 3 seconds. Just in 1 second, I'll give you his elapsed time and his key stats. But that's it. Didac Costa, another successful round the world race for the Spanish skipper. 97 days, 6 hours, 27 minutes, and 3 seconds. So that's Didac's time for the race. 97 days, 6 hours, 27 minutes, and 3 seconds. His differential is delta to the first position, which is of course Yannick Besthaven, is 17 days, 2 hours, 42 minutes and 17 seconds, and he finishes 1 day, 18 hours and 49 minutes behind Pip Hare. And on the theoretical course, 24,365 miles, his average is 10.44 knots, and he sailed 28,172 miles at 12.07 knots. So just to repeat that for the people who are statisticians and journalists out there who are waiting for the numbers, he finished at 20:47:03 French time, so 19:47:03 UTC. Race time 97 days, 6 hours, 27 minutes, 3 seconds. His delta, his distance, time differential to the winner is 17 days, 2 hours, 42 minutes and 17 seconds. 1 day, 18 hours, 49 minutes and 33 seconds behind Pip Hare, and 10.44 average speed on the theoretical course, 12.07 knots for his actual course, which is 28,172 miles. So just by comparison, there's something interesting. He sailed 28,172 miles. Pip Hare sailed 27,976 miles. So Didac just sailed about just over 100 miles more. But nonetheless, a great finish for Didac Costa. Very steady, accomplished sailor. His result really reflects his superb standard of seamanship and his experience over the years. He's not done so many ocean races, just seems to principally end up doing round the world races because of his full-time career as a fire officer. And his budgets are all super tight. He had a big crowdfunding project to get himself across the start line this time. And having succeeded in doing that, he's brought the boat back safely this time. No problems, and that will be hugely satisfying. Laura.
Yeah, definitely. It's awesome, and it makes him the second Spanish skipper to complete the Vendée Globe 24 years after José de Ugarte, who took the 6th place in the Vendée Globe 92 on the previous Generali Concorde. That was Alain Gautier's boat, the boat that he actually sailed on in 89, which was the first edition of the Vendée Globe, which was called the Vendée Globe Challenge at the time, and which was that crazy race with 13 guys who had no idea of what they were doing and what was happening, but they did it. So that was back in 1989. Now today it's 2021. It's still going on, and it's just everybody who finishes the Vendée Globe is a hero in a way. So that's well done for Didac, 2 Vendée Globes in a row. That's incredible.
It is going to be interesting to see what he does now, because as I say, it's unlikely that this generation of boats will be able to race the Vendée Globe again. That's my information, or what I was hearing today from Imoca. But it's interesting. It's a point to reflect on in a way, because for sure Didac's boat, I think, is held up a little bit better than Pip's boat. Now, whether that's because Pip has pushed harder or whatever, but or maybe Didac said less about his problems, but for sure, a great result for Didac, and extending the, as Anne-Laure said, extending the Spanish record in the race. We had Didac in the last race, so Didac's done 2. I said this is the 6th race for the boat, and Didac has done 3 round the worlds on the boat. The other sailors who have raced the boat were obviously Ellen MacArthur in the first race, and the second round the world race was the 2007 Barcelona World Race with Servana Escoffier and Albert Bargues, and then the third was with Gerard Maran and Ludovic Aglavar in 2011, yes, and then the 2015 race, Alice Gelabert and Didac sailed it together. So it's a pretty amazing record. Didac celebrated his 40th birthday at sea just before Christmas. Made no fuss about it, but he's certainly happy to be at sea, and his team joining him on board now. Be interested to see how the inside of his boat was. I was lucky to go on board after the end of the last race, and as we were saying with Miranda Merrin on their call earlier on today, Didac's boat was not the tidiest inside, I always say, but he's got the boat round. He looks after it well, and he was telling us that he had so little time off in the period since he bought the boat to do most of the work himself with his friends in Barcelona, and it's a credit to them that he's finished with so few problems. And we're joined by the race doctor, Dr. Jean-Yves Chauve, who's been involved with every race. Jean-Yves, your thoughts on Didac's performance?
Ah non, en français. Qu'est-ce qu'il m'a dit? Et comment tu ressens la performance de Didac? Qu'est-ce que tu en penses? Alors, je pense que, vous savez, tous les skippers du Vendée Globe qui terminent la course sont des gens qui sont des performeurs. Moi, je suis extrêmement admiratif devant chaque skipper, qu'il soit premier ou dernier, parce que faire le Vendée Globe, passer les 3 caps, c'est une énorme performance.
So Jean-Yves is saying that he's just, he really looks up to all the skippers who actually do this, go on this adventure, because it's just incredible to actually be a finisher, as we were saying earlier. The 3 capes, just going around the world is just an incredible challenge, and everybody, each one of them that finishes is just an incredible performance. So he admires each of them.
La course au large a une particularité, ce sport a une particularité, c'est que j'explique souvent que ce sont des dormeurs de haut niveau, c'est-à-dire que dans d'autres sports, on fait sa performance sportive et ensuite on va à l'hôtel, on prend une douche. Alors pour la douche, il suffit de monter sur le pont pour l'avoir, mais surtout, on va dormir sans se préoccuper de la vitesse du bateau. Or, sur le Vendée Globe, il faut, malgré le fait qu'on dort, faire en sorte que le bateau aille toujours plus vite. Donc ça veut dire qu'il faut dormir peu, mais dormir efficace.
So, this is a sport that's very different from all the others, because, if you go to the tennis or whatever, you just go back to the hotel and take a shower, whereas when you're on a boat, especially going around the world, or, when you're at sea for a long time, you got to get some sleep. And of course, the boat is still going, so you have to be very efficient to make sure that your boat is still going faster, especially on the Vendée Globe. So you got to be super efficient and aware, even though you got to sleep, but you really have to be organized, and it's just an incredible challenge for those skippers.
Oui, la difficulté, c'est qu'il faut être vigilant en dormant, mais en même temps dormir peu pour rester efficace sur le bateau.
So you have to be aware. You have to always be aware. So you can't sleep much at a time, but you gotta stay. The boat has to be to always. You have to perform. That means that even when you're sleeping, you basically have to be to be aware and to get organized so that your boat still performs.
Oui, je dis souvent que la difficulté aussi de ce sport, c'est que c'est un sport où il faut être compétent dans énormément de domaines. Il faut non seulement être un athlète, parce que physiquement, c'est parfois très difficile, pour gérer les voiles quand il y a du mauvais temps et quand il faut border les voiles, il faut être physiquement en forme, mais il faut également être ingénieur, il faut être informaticien, il faut être électricien, il faut être électronicien, il faut être mécanicien quand le moteur tombe en panne. Il faut être aussi capable de se gérer soi-même, d'être son propre coach pour gérer son sommeil, ou même sur se soigner. S'il faut faire des points de suture, il faut le faire soi-même. Et puis on demande aussi aux skippers maintenant d'être caméraman, metteur en scène et acteur de cinéma et scénariste. Donc c'est une multiplicité de compétences qu'on demande à une seule personne qui est isolée sur son bateau pendant 3 mois et il doit savoir tout faire.
So basically, when you get on a Vendée Globe, when you get on a boat and you decide to go on a Vendée Globe, you really have to know how to do so much. You are a sailor, but you also have to be an engineer. Of course, you got to be fit. You know, it's like an athlete because you got to set a switch. I don't know, sail or whatever. You gotta be strong. You gotta be really fit. You gotta know how to take care of yourself. If you're hurt, you gotta know how to do stitches. You also have to be a good engineer because you gotta know how to repair whatever happens if whatever on the hull or the foil or the sails. And you also have to be an actor in a way. You have to be good at communication because now, of course, you're alone on your boat, but you gotta communicate through like social media. It's just like being a producer. It's like being an actor. It's you really have a lot of roles to play when you are alone on your boats now on the Vendée Globe.
Alors, une dernière chose aussi quand même pour parler de cette course, c'est que c'est la seule compétition, il y en a très peu, où les hommes et les femmes courent dans la même catégorie et que finalement, quel que soit l'âge, on peut être performant, puisque le plus jeune avait 27 ans et le plus âgé 61 ans. Et en fait, on voit bien qu'au niveau de la performance, avec peut-être justement des capacités différentes, eh bien finalement, chacun peut être très efficace.
So this is also one of the only sport where it's both women and men. So that means that they compete in the same world. They are and age wise, it goes from 27 to 61 on this race anyway. So that means that it doesn't whatever the age, whatever the sex or whatever, it's just like incredible that it's one of the only sport actually when men and women compete against each other, and it's pretty fantastic.
Oui, donc tout ça pour dire que chacun vient avec ses propres armes et chacun va faire la course. C'est d'abord une victoire personnelle, je pense, avant d'être parce qu'il faut se vaincre soi-même. On a aussi, quand on part à faire un tour du monde, on a aussi des inquiétudes, des angoisses finalement à aller dans le sud, et cette capacité à passer le Cap Horn, à passer cet endroit le plus inhospitalier de la Terre pour un marin est aussi un challenge, et le fait de le passer, je pense que c'est déjà une victoire essentielle.
Yeah, it's all about personal challenges as well. I'm saying, that each of them has a kind of a personal challenge to beat in a way. It's a personal story. Going around Cape Horn is incredible for a sailor, and everybody just like writes their own story when they go on the Vendée Globe, whatever their reasons are, whether it's to win or to just participate. That's what makes this race very special.
Oui, je pense qu'on trouve peut-être des choses, on parle souvent du Grand Sud, des latitudes sud. Je pense qu'il y a des choses là-bas qu'on trouve en soi-même, que l'on ne trouve pas ici. Je pense que c'est la raison pour laquelle certains skippers retournent faire le Vendée Globe. Je pense à Jean Le Cam, qui a son 5e Vendée Globe, parce que Peut-être que dans le sud, on va découvrir des choses en soi qu'on ne trouverait pas en solitaire, qu'on ne trouverait pas ici parce qu'on est dans un autre monde, on est dans une autre dimension de la Terre, et que finalement, en vivant cette dimension différente, on trouve aussi une dimension différente en soi-même.
So when you go in the southern oceans, you probably like you find things, you just live something that nobody else does, and you probably go deep into yourself in a way, and that's probably why some sailors, some skippers want to go back. Like Jean-Luc Tam, it's his fifth Vendée Globe, and it's there must be an explanation why they do go back. And the Southern Ocean is definitely like a place where people, those skippers, or when you go there anyway, you just it's an inner voyage in a way.
Alors maintenant, la difficulté, c'est qu'il faut en revenir. Et finalement, on voit l'arrivée de Didac Costa. Et l'arrivée, il faut revenir dans le monde de la Terre. Et l'organisme s'est adapté finalement à cette vie en mer. On prend l'exemple de l'immunité. Vous savez que quand on est au large, il y a très peu de virus dans l'océan. Et finalement, le système de défense du corps, le système immunitaire, il se met un peu au repos parce que finalement, il n'est pas sollicité par des virus qui viennent l'agresser. Et au bout de 3 mois, brutalement, ce système est mis face au virus des personnes qu'on va rencontrer, parce que évidemment, quand on arrive à terre, on va s'embrasser, on va s'enlacer, parce qu'on est tellement heureux de se retrouver avec plein de gens, avec ses amis, avec sa famille aussi. Et donc, c'est à ce moment-là qu'il y a une période peut-être un petit peu dangereuse, parce que simplement, l'organisme de défense du système immunitaire est un peu pris de court, et finalement doit se réveiller très vite pour se défendre contre ces virus, et en particulier contre le coronavirus cette année.
So, of course, when you leave, you have to come back. And when you come back, there is a bunch of things that you have to face. So, especially your immune system, because you don't really, when you are out there is no virus. There is, it's pretty pure. So when you come back, you have to, be with people. You gotta hug people, kiss people because you want to, because you need to, and your immune system has to find its way to actually fight the viruses that people can transmit, especially, of course, now the coronavirus. It's all around us. So for those guys, they got to be careful.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jean-Yves Chaud, our medical expert who's been worked on every Vendée Globe, and I believe he's got a book writing a story to écrire un livre, Monsieur Jean-Yves.
Yes, oui, j'écris un livre, une histoire, un thriller sur la course au large.
Yes, not sure when it will be translated, but that'll be a job for Anne-Laure. She's going to translate the book, and Jean-Yves has finished it. But great evening, and there is Didac's team, and Didac has a particular association with our race direction team, who worked on the last Barcelona World Race. They know Didac very, very well, having worked in that race as well. We all stayed in Barcelona. Didac, very much a local hero, the only Catalan skipper to have finished the Barcelona race and the Vendée Globe, held in high esteem by his colleagues at the FNOB. And good to report, although the FNOB now still don't have any IMOCAs now, there's a very, very flourishing mini scene, which Didac is still fully supportive of. He's a real mentor for the young guys at the Barcelona FNOB mini fleet, and in particular Pep Costa, who's a young Barcelona mini sailor, who I think is here, and he's moving into the Figaro circuit this year. And it's his father, Pep, who is Didac's co-partner in the boat. Say they bought the boat from the FNOB in June 2019, and I believe they have some small bank loans which Didac and Pep will have to pay off in due course, both having to work quite hard to fund this project. They had a crowdfunding project just before the start, just to top up the budget, which was still tight. It was never cut and dried that Didac would make the start line, and a lot of support from small businesses and some individuals in Catalonia, in Barcelona. I'm sure they're all going to be super proud. Once again, his close friends and family, his supporters in Barcelona and in Spain couldn't travel here easily to come and welcome him back in. So special best wishes to all his friends and sailing friends back in Barcelona. Very proud evening for them. So Didac grew up in a small village close to Barcelona. His father, Jaume, built 2 steel boats when he was young, and Didac sailed with his father to Norway. That was one of his first trips. Got him really into the sailing offshore and ocean racing. And he was actually an alpine skier, an alpinist in his earlier life as a Spanish champion in the Espoirs, the Spanish youth team, for that. And then he moved from there. It was a natural progression into working in the forest. And it was when he was working in the forest, he got involved with the fire rescue service and the fire service in the forest. And from there, he started working with the fire service in Barcelona. The information we have, unfortunately, is that Didac will not be able to get into the channel this evening. Just missing it by a matter of a few minutes. The tide going down means there's not enough draft in the channel to let the offers in. I'm quite sure that under current circumstances, Didac would be one of the skippers quite happy to push it as hard as he could to try and get in, but unfortunately that means that he'll have to leave the boat outside, and probably, knowing Didac, he'll probably stay on it. It's a cold night, but I'm sure he'll come in and see us for a while first. But having sailed around the world in 45 days for the 3rd time, interestingly enough, Anne-Laure, we're noticing that his time for this race was the same as the Barcelona World Race that he did with Aleix Gelabert, almost exactly to the day, wasn't it? 95 days for the Barcelona race when he was 4th with Aleix. Sorry, 98 days, yeah. So pretty much similar time as he sailed with Aleix on the boat. Different course, of course, very different course. As the Barcelona race course goes through between the North and South Islands in New Zealand. However, I'm sure all the sailors in Barcelona and Aleix up in Finland just now, his co-skipper, will be super proud of Didac's done. So Didac, I think, as I said earlier on, very happy in the south, in the big south. One of his memories was staying in the Pacific in the big storm. He said the sea was super impressive, out to this building waves, blowing the steam off the top of the waves. But One Planet, One Ocean was doing what she knows how to, where really the boat is very much at home. And I think Didac is there. He was 20th at Cape Horn. Other key stats, he was 22nd across the equator on the 23rd of November in 5 days, 1 hour and 44 minutes behind the leader. So if you consider that he finishes just doesn't really lose too much time between the Cape Horn and the finish, really, compared to the winners. If I just remember, 17 days behind the winner, and at Cape Horn he was 11 days. Yeah, so on average losing about 5 to 6 days on each stage. Okay, so information is that we'll have the first interviews tomorrow, and Didac will come in the channel tomorrow, and press conference pretty soon after that. So join us then. Beautiful, beautiful evening for Didac. A wonderful finish. And I'm sure he'll get a warm welcome no matter how he comes in, whether it's in a rib or on the boat tomorrow. Both times he'll get a huge welcome, not least from his compatriots in the fire service, and I'm sure they'll be watching in Barcelona as well. And I'm not quite sure. I haven't looked at the dates too closely, but I'm not sure whether Didac's going to be here for the 21st birthday off his boat. But if he's not, we'll still celebrate nonetheless. I'm quite sure any excuse for a party at the moment. So, as I say, join us tomorrow for the Didac passage up the channel in daylight, and there's a press conference. We'll do our best to have Spanish, French, English translations. See you then.